everyone, this is FantasyEsque and welcome to the Vampire Amazon Family Tree 2nd edition. So today we're going to be going ahead and having a look at the vampiric bloodlines, so not including the alchemists because they're not immortals and they work a little bit differently. We're going to be going through the bloodlines to wrap up Generation 3 and also refresh our memories for Generation 4. So that we know where exactly everyone comes from and where we are going in the future. Now, I'm going to be keeping this as brief as possible, most likely sticking to the story points of the newest additions to the family trees. If you guys would like a more detailed report, I guess, of what's been happening since Generation 1, then I will link the first edition of our family tree in the description below. You guys can go ahead and check that out, which I made at the end of Generation 2. But okay, let's get a move on. So before we jump into the specifics, I want to tell you guys how I've color-coded all these slides so it'll be easy for you to follow. Now, I have decided that I am just going to focus on Generation 2, 3, and 4 for this video. Again, if you guys want to know how they connect to Generation 1, then feel free to check out the other family tree video I did for more information on that. But okay, how we're going to work this is that our grayed out names will be members of the family who died before their time. Black names, of course, are members that lived through their life quite well or they're still alive. If they're outlined in red, the bright red, that means that they carried on their bloodline. Note that in this video at least, I am considering the bloodline only passed on through girls. So if someone had a boy, then I don't count that as passing on their bloodline because in this series we, trace through our daughters. If they have a symbol above their head in black, it means that they inherited their role from a predecessor. If they have a symbol above their head in white, it means that they inherited that role from someone who died in the same generation of them. And if you guys are wondering, these generations, yes, the ladies, the generations they were born in, but also the generations they appeared in. So for example, some of the ladies we'll see in the future, like Swan Knox, she is a first generation vampire, but she appeared in Generation 2, so I count her as second generation. But okay, without further ado, let's actually jump into what this thing is all about. So, the royal line. In Generation 2, we had Princess Cassandra Salazar, Princess Narcissa Salazar, and Princess Lilith Salazar. Of all the sisters, Narcissa became heiress and queen after her older sister Cassandra died, and she won the challenge against her own mother, becoming queen. She was the only one in her generation to pass on the Salazar bloodline by having 3 daughters. She had Princess Genevieve Salazar, Princess Freya Salazar, and Princess Athena Salazar. Now, her first daughter, Genevieve, unfortunately died from sunlight, and so the title of heiress passed on to Freya, who failed against the fight for the throne. And then Athena, the youngest of the children in Generation 3, defeated her mother, won the crown, and became the new queen. Athena was the only one in her generation who managed to pass on her bloodline as well. She had a set of twin daughters, Wisteria and Zelda Salazar, and then she had a third daughter by the name of Isadora Salazar. Now, Wisteria had a bit of an interesting upbringing with her sister Zelda. They lived in a time of turbulence, I think around that period when they were aging up into children and getting ready to move into the castle. We just had the death of our alchemist Lady Rose, so a lot of things were going on, and they were trying to navigate their moral compass. Which for Wisteria didn't exactly help when Isadora came along because Isadora was born as an evil child, and she's super manipulative. Now, Wisteria lost the first challenge she had against her mother, and so did her other sisters. So every single one of these girls in Generation 4 actually got a chance to fight Queen Athena for the throne, and they all lost. Now, Wisteria won in her second go, so she is going to be our queen for Generation 4. Athena also has had one boy, which was, I think, Isadora's twin, so he's still around, but we're not exactly counting him in the bloodline. But Isadora's fate? Well, she is going to be moving out of the castle and leaving her sisters to become a castle keeper at Castle Sheba in Forgotten Hollow. So she most likely will not be continuing on the bloodline unless someone in the castle dies and she's brought back to continue her role. Zelda, we'll see what she's going to be doing in one of the future slides, but that's pretty much all we have for these guys. Now on to the Broodmother line. So, in Generation 2, we had Ophelia Cavador. She had one daughter by the name of Persephone Cavador in Generation 3, and Persephone had a daughter by the name of Rowan Cavador in Generation 4, who has inherited the role of Broodmother. Now, Rowan unfortunately has received the trait of hating children, or disliking children. So it is highly unlikely that she's going to be wanting to have any kids of her own. I think what we've decided in the end is that she is going to be exempt from having to reproduce because she obviously doesn't want to do that and is not interested in doing that. She was quite lonely in the castle, and one of her first friends, because I think Rowan was actually the first Generation 4 baby to be born, or the first Generation 4 girl to be born. So she was a bit lonely. She managed to make a friend in Rose, but there was a whole lot of drama that happened in the beginning of Season 3 because of Rowan. Rose sent Rowan off to the Magic Realm to go ahead and help her in a quest where Rowan got stuck. When the queen found out about it, she was very, very angry, and so Athena punished Rose by throwing her in jail, blinding her, forcing her to get pregnant with a wizard's child that lived in, Glimmerbrook. And after she gave birth to her daughter, Rose was promptly killed through overload. So after that, Rowan's relationship with the queen was a little bit rough and tough, but over time, we've kind of seen Rowan grow closer to the queen. Rowan also accompanied the queen to the Mer Kingdom of Selani to meet with the Shark Hunt court, which was quite exciting. So that improved their relationship heaps. And I'm hoping that going forward, Rowan is going to be someone who carries the mantle of her role and bloodline quite well, especially since she is most likely going to be the last Cavador we ever have. But okay, let's move on to the next bloodline. Now we have the champion line. So, in Generation 2, we had Lady Cynthia Ranarain, who died before her time, but not before passing on her genes to a young daughter by the name of Ursula Ranarain in Generation 3. Now, after Cynthia died, her role was inherited by Clara Duntalopa, but Clara Duntalopa did not manage to pass on her bloodline. She had no daughters. I think she had a bunch of sons. And in Generation 3, Ursula managed to have a girl on her first try, so she gave birth to Sol Ranarain, who is going to be inheriting the role of champion in Generation 4. Sol is quite opposite to her mother Ursula. She's not that manipulative. She is a very cheerful soul, has made a whole bunch of friends in the castle. I don't think she even has one enemy or one person that she hates or hates her, so that's absolutely amazing. And despite the fact that she differed quite a bit in her personality from her mother Ursula, she actually looked up to Ursula quite a bit, and mother and daughter have a really good relationship. So Ursula always was there for Sol, made sure she had a good upbringing, and instilled great values in her as a champion that hopefully Sol is going to be able to carry on. And of course, I'm pretty sure everyone was excited that our genetics for the Ranarains are going to be continuing. If you guys have been with the series for any amount of time, then you will know that all of our Ranarain girls look almost exactly the same. So that's kind of a luck of the draw that we've been having with the genetics, but it is flippin' awesome. Now on to the scholar line. So in Generation 2, Princess Lilith Salazar inherited the role of scholar because our previous scholar had no heiress. She didn't have any daughters, so she did not have anyone to pass on the role to. Princess Lilith got that role. But Princess Lilith unfortunately died before her time, and that mantle was passed on to Lady Kennedy Savage, who also didn't have any daughters and died before her time. Now, the third scholar that we had in Generation 2, I know, a lot of deaths, was Lady Swan Knox. Now, Lady Swan Knox did manage to pass on her bloodline. She had a daughter by the name of Nymphadora Knox. In Generation 3, Nymphadora also managed to pass on her bloodline by having a daughter named Oriana Knox in Generation 4. Oriana is actually related to the devil line through her father, I'm fairly sure. So that might be a little bit interesting. We'll have to see how things work out in Generation 4. But Nymphadora lived, I think, a very, very good life, easy life in the beginning of Generation 3, which got a little bit rough because of some emotional tangles towards the end. What happened was that Nymphadora was really close with Princess Freya and Queen Athena. She was actually the only person that Queen Athena opened up her feelings to and considered a close friend. Now, Athena also had some issues because she was born as a result of some magic that Morgana did back in the day. Now, Morgana bound the soul, or a half a soul, of a sea monster to Athena. And so Athena had a whole bunch of rage and issues with her, and as the generation went on, we kind of saw her becoming more and more bloodthirsty. So Nymphadora was approached by Princess Freya, our priestess, or Lady Freya, our priestess, to go ahead and use herself to expel that soul or to reconnect Athena's bad side with the good side, something like that. It's a little bit complicated to explain, but we had a whole bunch of things happening. So what Nymphadora had to do was she had to spend a night with Athena. Once she did that, Nymphadora couldn't handle the emotional pressure of it all. She couldn't look Athena in the face again. She felt a little bit dirty because she was used in a sense. Not that she harbored any negative feelings towards either one of her friends, but she just couldn't find it in herself to stay at the castle anymore, so Nymphadora left, was never replaced, and now her role is getting passed on to her daughter Oriana. We're gonna have to see how things work out. Now, Nymphadora didn't die a premature death. She's still around, but she's been traveling the world. She's gonna be returning for the Fire Tribute, though, so you guys will get to see her in the next generation. Now we have the Priestess line. As you can see, the Priestess line has never had any bloodline passed on ever. So Morgana Devilzar was our Generation 2 Priestess. She was married to Queen Narcissa. She didn't manage to have any daughters. I think she had 2 sons. So she is actually, I think, the grandmother of Oriana Knox, so that's actually quite interesting. Now, because she didn't have any daughters, the role of priestess was passed on to Princess Freya, because Princess Freya was a spare princess and she didn't really have any other role to fulfill or anything else to do, so she took on the mantle of priestess. Freya didn't have any children either, but she did give birth to a son. However, we don't count him as part of the bloodline. Because Freya didn't have any daughters, the mantle of priestess is going to be passed on to Queen Wisteria's twin sister, Zelda Salazar. So as I said before, Isadora is going to be moving to Forgotten Hollow to be the castle keeper, and Zelda is going to be staying with her sister as the resident priestess. Now, all of our royal princesses in Generation 4 have had quite extreme traits. Princess Wisteria is evil, Princess Zelda is mean, and Princess Isadora is evil. So we're going to have to see what sort of drama and chaos happens in the next season, guys. But I hope that gave you a really good refresher of what's going on with these ladies and how they're all connected, or at least how the bloodlines have been passed on. I know it wasn't extremely detailed, but if you guys have any confusion towards anything, or if I've made a mistake in going ahead and giving you guys the rundown, then let me know. I will correct myself in the comments below, and I will try to address any other questions that you guys have. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Don't forget that I will be putting out a video to do with predictions as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And also, please follow me on Instagram so you guys can be updated for when merch comes and is released sometime this week. But okay, guys, with that said and done, I'm going to leave off. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.